So here is MULN Mullen Automotive. This finishes at $2.87 today. That is down 3.69%.
And it's gone.
Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is AMC Entertainment. This finishes at $23.30 today. That is down 5.44%. So we've been discussing this stock the past couple of weeks. This has been number one on StockTwits every single day. A lot of mentions, major price action. Definitely was short squeezing. I have been saying the past couple of shows that it looks like the squeeze is coming to an end, and it's probably due for a pretty big pullback. A lot of people didn't like that. A lot of apes didn't like that, but, I keep it 100 with you guys. So, again, this was number one on StockTwits. Had over 13,000 mentions, and some pretty good price action today. So, once again, we're going to analyze it. So, really, no company-specific news to justify this price action today. It just seems like momentum cooling off, the squeeze coming to an end, people taking profits, and shorts coming in. Just speculation on my part, though. So let's go ahead and analyze here. And there's really not too much to go off of here. Not too many indicators. But we do have a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being around $13. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be $30. And if it is $30, that would currently be a bearish indicator, because that would mean that the cup already topped out. Should pull back to form the handle, which it actually looks like it's doing right now. But it can also be above 30. And if it's above 30, that would be a bullish indicator. It can also be 32, 35, 44.60, 52.40, $65, or even 72.60, the high. Although I do think the most realistic top would be $30, which it already hit. So it looks like in the longer term, the cup and handle would be a strong bullish indicator. But in the short term, it does appear like the cup probably already topped out and is now pulling back to form the handle. So long-term bullish, short-term bearish. We also have a bull flag developing here. I drew it out for you guys. Here's the flag pole. And now we have the flag forming here. So that would be a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may want to break out to the upside. And in the aftermarket here, this is selling off down to 23.20. So if this holds, that would be a bearish indicator for Monday. That is suggesting that the stock will sell off on Monday as well. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 23.60 and 22.45. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 23.60, 24.35, 25.35, 26.75, 27.85, 28.95, 29.85, 30.90, 31.95, 32.75, 33.65, 34.80, 36.05, 36.75, 37.60, 38.35, 39, and then 40.20. There is resistance above 40.20, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 22.45, 21.15, 20.35, 19.55, 18.55, 17.80, 17.30, 16.50, 15.35, 14.10, and then 12.95. There is support below 12.95, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, 23.30, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized, so expect a regular amount of price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks $39 to the upside, the channel starts to open up and get pretty wide, so expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks $39. RSI is currently at 58, so no longer in overbought, overvalued territory, but still above average. So according to the RSI, the current price of $23.30 should be a little bit lower. And this did 65 million in volume today, which is a good amount below the average. So the sell-off today was not confirmed by the volume. So it definitely looks like the momentum is cooling off, volume is coming down, and the squeeze is pretty much over. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice, and this is more or less the same for what I've been saying the past few days. So longer term, the stock definitely looks like a good buy and hold, a good stock to diamond hands. We have a big cup and handle going right now, so a good amount of upside potential for the long term. In the short term, this has already pulled back pretty hard from 35, but it may not be done selling off just yet. There may be a little bit more downside to go here, but the price is coming back down to earth. So if you want to go long, not financial advice, honestly, 23.30 is a pretty decent entry already. I would have no problems with you guys buying in here, but if you hold off a little bit, you may be able to get a little bit better based on the possible cup and handles. If the top is 30, this should pull back to around 22 to form the handle, because 22 is halfway between 30 and 13, the top and bottoms of the cup. But if the top is 35, which it can be also, this should pull back to around 24, because 24 is about halfway between 35 and 13. So I did predict in the previous shows that this should pull back to around 22 to the $24 range. That's what it's at right now, and I'm going to stay by that. So yeah, I would have no problems with you guys buying in at 23.30. Pretty good entry. But if you hold off a little bit longer, maybe you can get this in the $22 or $21 range. But I really don't think it should go too much further to the downside. So I would support going long at 23.30 and lower. And if it pulls back below 23.30, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. But yeah, it looks like it's currently bull flagging. Handle is forming on the cup and handle, so this may have a little bit more downside to go, but in the relative short term here, this should run to the upside again. So it looks pretty bullish in the short and long terms. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. Again, I do think this will pull back to the $22 to $24 range. So this is already at 23.30. Again, really don't think there's too much more downside to go. Maybe this will go down to like 21-ish. So really, I think at most, you'd be making around 10% here. And there's a good amount of upside risk. This is AMC, the meme stock. Apes love it. This can go flying at any time. Looks like the stock wants to break out from the cup and handle and the bull flag. So you'd be shorting for not that much money and exposing yourself to a good amount of upside risk here. So I would say going short would be a high risk, low reward play. Just doesn't really make sense at this point. Should have went short at 35, even 30. Here at 23.30, it's a little too late to go short. If you do that, you're probably going to end up getting burned. So I really don't see a reason to go short here. Doesn't seem like a smart idea. So yeah, you missed your chance, and I don't recommend going short here. So pretty straightforward, guys. Long term, looks like a good stock to diamond hands. In the short term, this may pull back a little bit more, but really shouldn't go down too much more. And it should break out relatively soon from the cup and handle and the bull flag. We're getting some pretty bullish indicators here in the long and short terms. So 23.30 is a pretty good price, pretty good entry. I'd support going long here and lower, and really no reason to go short here. Pretty dangerous play at the moment. Too late to go short. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is AMC Entertainment. So here's MULN Mullen Automotive. This finishes at $2.87 today. That is down 3.69%.
And it's gone.
So here's another meme stock that has been very popular of late. We've been discussing this stock for over a month now. Been on an absolute run. Was definitely short squeezing. Was squeezing multiple times, actually. And today, this did make top 10 on StockTwits again. I believe this had 8,000 mentions. Big trending stock here. So once again, we're going to analyze it. So really no company-specific news to justify this price action today. It just seems like momentum is cooling off overall. A lot of the memes went down today, including this one. Yeah, it seems like people taking profits and shorts coming in here. So let's go ahead and analyze. So first of all, we do have a gap down at 1190. So that is a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 1190 to fill this gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. And then we do have another gap down back here at 465. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 465 to fill this gap. Again, may take a while, but eventually it should. And then we do have a cup and handle in the making here. Bottom of the cup being 52 cents, the low. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 380. And if it is 380, that would currently be a bearish indicator because that means the cup already topped out and it's due for a pullback. It already has been pulling back, actually. But it can also be above 380. And if it's above 380, then it would be a bullish indicator. It can also be 585, 740, $9, 980, 1050, 1165, or even 1590. And I do think the most realistic top would be 380, which already hit. So the cup and handle can be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is. So longer term, the cup and handle definitely looks bullish, but in the short term, it can be bearish. And then we do have a triple gap up. First gap up at 60 cents. So bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may come back down to 60 cents to fill this gap. Looks pretty unlikely at this point, but it might. So be aware of that, guys. Second gap up is at 150. So another bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may come back down to 150 to fill this gap. And then third gap up at 180. Another bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may come back down to 180 to fill this gap. So I do think 60 cents is pretty unlikely, but I do think 150 and 180, those gaps have a good chance of filling. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 290 and 270. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 290, 320, 340, 360, 380, $4, 410, 425, 440, 460, 495, 525, 550, 570, and then 585. There is resistance above 585, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 270, 255, 225, $1.90, $1.70, $1.35, $1.15, $1, 75 cents, 60 cents, and then the low of 52 cents. So right now at this current price, $2.87, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks $3.20 to the upside, the channels start to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this breaks $3.20. And to the downside, if/when this breaks 75 cents, the channels start to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this breaks 75 cents. But from $3.20 down to 75 cents, should be a lot of price action, should be a lot of volatility. RSI is currently at 58, so a little bit above average, nothing to be too concerned about. But according to the RSI, this current price of $2.87 should be a little bit lower. And this did 115 million in volume today, which is way above the average. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume, although it does appear like the stock is quickly losing lots of momentum. Not nearly as much volume as the past few days. So it appears like the squeeze is over, although it did look like that a couple times already and it just kept on running, so you never know. Alright guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So longer term, definitely looks like a good stock to buy and hold. Got some very strong bullish indicators here in the long term. Big cup and handle, double gap down. But in the short term, we are getting some very strong bearish indicators in the triple gap up. That is very, very scary. So it appears like the momentum is cooling off and the squeeze is coming to an end. You never know though. So personally, I do think this will pull back. It actually pulled back quite a bit already, from over $4. But I do think there is more downside to go here in the short term. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, honestly, $2.87 isn't exactly a bad entry. A little bit overpriced if you ask me, but not terrible. Personally, I think it's going to come back down to at least $1.80 to fill this gap, maybe even lower. And according to the cup and handle here, if we do the math, this should pull back to around $2.15. Because $2.15 is halfway between the top of the cup, $3.80, and the bottom 50 cents. So I think this should pull back to around the $1.80 to $2.15 range, which is a good amount of downside from the current price, $2.87. If you want to go long, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that, although it's not a bad entry. I do think if you're a little patient here, you should be able to get a much better one. So I would set the buy orders to 180, and if it pulls back below 180, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short now, financial advice, I do think this has more downside potential. I do think this will pull back down to 180 to 215, that range. So from the current price of 287 down to 180, that is over a 35% downside there, almost 40%. And it may even go lower than that to fill the other gaps at 150 and 60 cents. So this actually seems like a pretty good short play. I would say going short here would be a medium risk, high reward play. I say medium risk because this is MULN. Apes really like this stock. Every time it looked like the momentum was cooling off and the squeeze is coming to an end, it just pumps up again. So I would not be surprised if it keeps running. But I don't think there's too much upside potential here. Maybe some quick pops. So I think as long as you're able to withstand a little bit of upside pressure here, this should be a pretty good shorting opportunity. So I would support going short at the current price, 287 and higher. And I would say cover at 180 for a relatively easy 35% gain on the downside. And it may even go lower than that. So yeah, pretty straightforward here, guys. Long term, looks like a good stock to buy and hold. A lot of upside potential. But in the short term, this has been running like crazy. It has already pulled back quite a bit, but I do think it has more downside to go. So if you want to go long, I would hold off right now. Don't think that's the greatest idea. I would wait for a better entry at around 180, where the gap is. And if you want to go short, there is a good amount of downside potential here. So it looks like a pretty good opportunity on the short side. Still risk involved, so be careful, guys. But yeah, I would support going short, and I would say cover at 180. So, sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is MULN Mullen Automotive. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please, like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on The Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.